Hey, what's going on, Sonic Academy? Paul here, and I make music and sounds as P-LASK. And in this course, we're going to discuss how to make minimal tech house. The track I've put together here is inspired by artists such as Chris Stussy, East End Dubs, Baltimore Chop, and labels such as PIV Records, among others. We'll be covering synthesis techniques, beat production, and processing using primarily stock Ableton Live devices, using Ableton Live as our DAW throughout the journey. However, most of the techniques will be translatable fairly easily to other DAWs if you'd like to follow along, if you're into this style. We'll obviously go into much more detail in the full course over on Sonic Academy, but for this YouTube course overview, we'll run you through some of the basics. I'll go through the different tracks and some of the different elements of the song. So stick around. I hope you learned something new today, and make sure you check out Sonic Academy for tons and tons more tutorials and great music production content. So we'll let the track play, and then I'll just kind of go top to bottom through the different elements. First off, we have all of our different drums here. All of these drum samples are included in the project file if you get the course on Sonic Academy. We got different drum samples arranged using Simpler in MIDI on their various tracks. A few of these are put into drum racks. You see the hats here. I've got a closed hat and a couple of different open hats put into a drum rack so I could kind of sequence them together and pan them out using the chains and do a couple other things here with processing. Now we got these accent hits, this accent cymbal you hear coming in here, and then that'll be paired with this snare accent. And we'll of course go through all the drum sequencing and some of the reason for some of the call and response and things in the full course. All the drum samples, though, you can see they're all grouped together into this drum bus group where I'm using, hey presto, the drum bus audio effect from Ableton. This is a great effect for adding some saturation and transient shaping and low-end enhancement to your drum mix overall. So we're using that on the drum mix. The bass here, we're using Ableton's very own wavetable synth for this, one of my personal favorites. This is a very simple bass patch that we go through the synthesis from scratch in the full course. We're using utility on it to just sum the low end to mono, because we're doing a little bit of unison detuning with the bass patch, a little bit of EQ, a little bit of auto pan here for some faux sidechain compression. Things get a little bit more sound design complicated, not even really that complicated, but with the organ stab and the synth stab. Now these two sounds, I think, are the heart and soul of this track. They really give it its mood and its sense of atmosphere, and they're designed to kind of play off of each other, call and respond, and work together. So this organ sound, solo that really quickly, this is coming from Ableton's operator synth. Again, we'll synthesize this in the full course. I'm using the MIDI chord effect to give it this kind of minor chord stab. It's a minor 9 chord, I believe. A minor chord stab, just to kind of give it this, more dark, moody feel over the whole track. To make it very spacey, we're using Convolution Reverb Pro. We've got a little bit of dynamic tube for distortion, and then some delay. Let's jump ahead to where it's playing again here so we can hear it. Some delay to add the atmospherics to the sound, and then of course some EQ, and mix, and then the synth stab. Let's take a quick listen and look at this one. This again is using wavetable, and we're utilizing the MIDI chord effect to give it a similar minor 9 chord. Slightly different voicings though on this chord, so the sound's a little bit brighter. We're using delay here. We're actually using echo, which is a slightly more advanced delay effect that comes with Ableton Live, to create sort of a interesting spaced out mid-side delay with some reverb layered into it. I'll go through all the settings in that again in the full course. A little bit of EQ, of course, to fit it into the mix. We've also got this pad. I think if this is the heart and soul of the song, this is the brain, maybe? I don't know. But you need all three of those things to live, don't you? So this pad is also very important. This is one of the default instrument racks from Ableton Live, but we've gone in and we've manipulated a couple of things and Done some clever automation to get the pad to sound a little bit more rhythmic. This is what it sounds like normally. Just a nice sustaining drone. But we're doing a bit of clever automation in some other sections of the song to kind of have it alternate between a drone and a quick stab. And again, we're using echo to kind of get those stabs to catch and get picked up by the echo, so we hear them as delay taps layering over the pad. Nice lush sound. I really like that one. Then we got some vocals. These vocal samples are all coming from a pack called Siren by Vila, by I believe it's Black Octopus Audio or Black Octopus Sounds. That is available on Sonic Sound, so you can find that right there. We've of course done some repitching, turned off the warping, changed the pitching, added some processing to these. Very, very minimal processing. Little compression and EQ. And then there is also bus processing through some reverb and delay. I should maybe point those out really quickly. So we're using the Ableton hybrid reverb on return track A here, and we're bussing the vocals, this vocal texture, and a few other elements through that, some of the drums as well. And then I've also got another stock Ableton delay on return track B, and we're using this with some clever automation to create vocal textures and ambience to transition in certain sections of the song to fill out the transitions. I think you'll hear that coming up pretty soon.
Don't stop.
Oh, I have the delay track is muted. I'm wondering where all my delay is. Let's hear that one more time, because that comes in right at that point. Yeah, so this panned out noise with the vocal, that's coming from this delay on return track B. We've got this vocal texture, which I've gone in and I've resampled some of the vocal samples. There's one in particular that I resampled through some reverb and delay, and we've taken it, we've reversed it, we've warped it, we've tweaked it, we've looped it, and we've come up with this. I'll solo it here. Kind of interesting vocal texture, which is just sort of layered in the background of the whole song. Adds to the energy, to the intensity. And then lastly, we've got crash cymbal, simply used here to signify the transitions. We've got a few versions of it where it's reversed. Right here at the very end, you got the reverse. That's gonna loop back to bar 49. We got a single crash. We got a couple areas where we got a double crash, and you can see it's getting bussed through the delay on the return track. So we get a nice little rhythmic effect to that as well. And so those are all the different parts. And then of course, in the full course, we'll go through the mix down, balancing all the elements. And then of course, the master, we've got a master chain here where we're using a couple of Ableton glue compressors, the FabFilter Saturn, utility EQ8, and then Ozone 9 elements for a few modules to beef it up and get it nice and loud. So yeah, that's a quick overview of the Minimal Tech House track. This is my track Altered Reality. I liked the track so much I decided to release it. This is out on my label Electric Dangerous Records. You can find it everywhere. And if you want to see very in depth how I constructed this entire thing, be sure to jump on over to sonicacademy.com, and you can check out the full course where we go in detail into every part of this song.
Thanks everyone for watching. We really appreciate the support from you guys. If you liked this video, then smash that like button. And if you want to be notified about new content, hit the subscribe and the bell notification. Peace!